Hello, very good morning to you. Welcome to Daybreak Benue on Benue Television. Today it's a very beautiful day and we are set to bring the program your way. Remember that we are set up to discuss a very important topic so far as Benue State is concerned politically and democratically. We will be talking about Governor Alia's thank you tour. He has ended or concluded his thank you tour across the 23 local government areas with the major axes, having people come together to speak to them in form of town halls, and a lot happened during this thank you tour. And it's for this reason we are seated here to analyze what took place for the days that the governor went out with his cabinet to say thank you to the people of Benue State. My name is Japhet Kwahom.
I'm Steven Abba. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome, Steve.
Good morning, Japhet.
Today is one of my best days on this show because I have always prayed for the day we're going to sit like this, like man and man to do this.
Yeah,
yes.
Me too.
Yeah, now most definitely we have a lot to discuss, and the people who are coming to do this analysis are people who are very keen about the Benue situation when it comes to democracy.
Yeah.
I would have loved to say we could talk about some things, but what's really on your mind? Because there are a lot of things happening in Nigeria.
Okay.
Before our guests are here, we need to talk to the people.
I think we should talk about cholera in Lagos.
Okay, cholera in Lagos State.
You know what? When it entered, in fact, when the first report was made about it, that should be like over a week ago or two, we had a few victims, people that died. But now, as I'm talking to you, the statistics is about 40 people. 40 people have died from cholera in Lagos, and numerous people are having, they are still battling in the hospital for their lives.
And that portends a lot of danger to
yes,
to
and
very
I
many
think
people.
this is a good forum to let people know that we should be more careful with what we put in our mouths. We should be more careful. In fact, yesterday I read that there was this drink that was produced in Lagos
Yes.
that they found the bacteria inside it.
Yeah.
And these things were manufactured in the houses, so in our homes. So
Yes.
it's very important that we become very careful about what we put in our mouths, the water we drink, because cholera is highly contagious, and because of that, parents should be very deliberate about their children.
Yes.
Now that we are in the school, school has resumed and children are going back to
Yes.
their various schools.
And Steve, when we talk about cholera, you know that even the elderly are actually involved.
Of course.
And so one needs to be very careful. There is a connection between Lagos State and Benue.
Of course.
So if people in Lagos
State and Nigeria.
Yes, and Nigeria, So if people in Lagos could get infected, it means that anyone at all could
Even in
also-
Kano now.
Yeah, in Kano.
Yeah.
And this is happening almost every year.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what the UN, what the World Health Organization particularly is doing towards, or UNICEF, or any of these international bodies that are interested in health sector, what they are doing towards stemming, cholera. Because I know how much the fight for polio was.
Yes.
And polio was eventually eradicated. And so I expect that same level of war to be exerted on cholera outbreak as well.
It's not just cholera.
Yeah.
And many other diseases, especially when they are when they are becoming very terminal.
Yes.
You don't have a solution, you don't have a cure for them.
Yes.
The world bodies in charge of the medics I think they should be on their toes.
Yes.
As far as this is concerned. And of course, we on our part as citizens should do more to educate ourselves and of course understand the workings of this disease.
It's all right. I think we're due for a break, and of course our guest will be joining us anytime soon as we begin the discussion. What has brought us here will certainly be discussed. Let's go on the break very quickly. We'll be right back.
Benue Fashion Show Season 3 is here.
It's that time of the year for fashion designers, entrepreneurs, and fashion enthusiasts to shine.
This year, sale of forms for the competition begins from 15th April to 30th June 2024.
Pick a form at Benue Television, located at Special Duties Wing, Government House, Makudi. Form cost 5,000 naira only.
Stage 1 screening begins on the 6th of July 2024. Great prizes await you.
The first prize, 1 million naira. Second prize, 500,000 naira. And third prize, 300,000 naira. All prizes are inclusive of cash and fashion too. Also, consolation prizes and gift items.
For sponsorship, partnership and inquiries, please call Benue TV Marketing on 0906 188 9838 or 0703 794 5569. Benue Fashion Show, embracing fusion fashion.
After a successful election and assumption of office as the 6th democratically elected governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia has seen the need to say thank you to the people of Benue State. For this, he arrives at Kumatongu Stadium, Katsina Ala, to interface with the people of Katsina Ala, Hukum, and Logo local government areas. Governor Alia says he requested the votes of these people to enable him become governor, and his coming this time is simply to say thank you for the mandate to govern them. He is equally using this opportunity to give an account of his stewardship in the last 1 year. The governor announces award for the construction of Katsina Ala Head Bridge, Hausa Quarters to Victory Church Road, Ukari Junction in Zakibiam, Yam Market, Iwayo to White Junction, and Sankara Chito to Vasi Roads. He re-echoes his administration's efforts to return peace to the area and the state in January, while ensuring food security and empowerment of the people. The governor informs people of the area that the process of installing the first and second class chiefs in the area, known as the Katsina Ala, into Sankara is on, expressing hope that when installed, the traditional rulers will assist him in bringing back peace to the areas. Party stakeholders in Sankara, including member representing the area at the House of Representatives, Solomon Wombo, Chief of Staff to the Governor, Paul Biam, Caretaker Chairman of Katsina Ala, Ukum and Logo local governments, and Chief Barnabas Gema, they all declare support of the people to the earlier administration, endorsing him for a second term as Governor of Benue State.
We went 98% towards him, so he decided to come. So we appreciated him. Now we told him that as a result of this, we have decided to support him for his second term, even before his declaration.
And we have won. Those people who feel that can cause distraction are won. This is from that attitude.
We are also complimenting his effort at our various local governments by building, constructing, renovating so many dead government properties in Katsina Ala, including the chairman's residence, the secretariat is ongoing, the water in Todonga, and several other things.
The priest is a representative of God on this earth. For that reason, if a priest has been assigned a responsibility, he does not need a godfather.
Acting chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC in Benue State, Benjamin Omakolo, receives members of other political parties led by Owes Ligom for defecting to the APC.
His administration prioritizes improving the lot of the ordinary people, as the state's elites have had their fair share of government patronage in the preceding administrations. Now it is the turn of the common man on the street to feel the impact of governance in Benue State.
Governor Alia, during the visit, pays homage to the Sankara Area Traditional Council led by the acting to Sankara, His Royal Highness Chief Jimmy Memme, for consultations, where he receives royal blessings from the fathers as a sign of their support to his administration. Emmanuel Akula, Benue Television News, Makudi.
Welcome back to the studios of Benue Television, and we are very glad indeed to be here once again to bring issues across Benue State your way. This is about the only television that is very objective and balanced in handling situations in the states at the national, and sometimes we even have that leverage to beam our searchlight on the international sphere. Today we are talking about Benue, as His Excellency the Executive Governor of Benue State has completed his tour of his thank you tour across the 23 local government areas of the state. we have decided to analyze this so that the people who were not able to watch closely what took place at the various, extractions of this state could also catch a glimpse of what's happening and what actually took place in those places. We have in the house Dr. Jerome Ndoho, who is the DG Benue State Budget and Economic Planning Commission. I'd like to welcome you very warmly to the studios of Benue Television.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
And we also, you're welcome. We're also privileged to have, after a very long time, yes, Honorable James Onguga, who is the APC Organizing Secretary, Benue State Chapter. I'd like to welcome you to the studios of Benue Television.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Permit me to say that, gentlemen, this is a time we are to say the truth to Benue State and also tell Benue the truth the way it is. I saw and I spotted you on various occasions, you and the DG Planning, across the various areas that the governor visited. And the activities that unfolded, you were also part of them. I would want us to begin first in Sankara, where this flag off was done. You were there, and you were also there. Now, first, what does the thank you tour of His Excellency portend to you, first of all, as gentlemen? And what did you see coming out of that thank you tour as one who is the Democrat and, of course, the Executive Governor of Benue State? You spoke to the people. What were you able to take away from that, thank you tour that the governor embarked upon? Let's begin with you, DG Planning.
For me, I'm always looking at this from the perspective of the economy.
Yeah.
And the governor has started a budget, which he called the budget for infrastructure development, that of job creation and that of poverty alleviation. So, and the budget has run a course of 6 months. We were almost mid-year. So, for me, the tour was some kind of taking stock of what he has been able to achieve so far, and then where there are gaps within those particular, the entirety of the Benue space, to be able to see where those gaps existed and then see how he can come and reshapen his budget, because we are in the process of going to the supplementary budget. And then maybe you could now bring some of those gaps, to bear on the supplementary budget. So for me, from the economic perspective, that is what the thank you tour was all about.
All right, that's right. Honorable James Onguga, you tell us, what's your feeling towards this thank you tour? What did you see?
Well, as a party official and one who is saddled with the job of organizing events for my own party, to me it was an avenue for remobilization of our party members, because there has been this trend where people would win elections and not get back to the electorate until the next round of election. So when Governor Hyacinth Yomemalia introduced his own pattern, that he would go back to the people that voted him overwhelmingly and say thank you to them for doing this to him, it was something novel. The people looked at it, it never happened in the past. So it strengthened our party. It rejigged the party architecture generally, and the people felt very happy. So to me, it was a way of reawakening that yes, father kind of.
Are you saying that the next? Are you saying that the next political, the next electioneering process too is going to be the yes, father mantra? We are going to change the game, or how is it going to be?
Well,
from the way you have said.
The people are so used to yes, father. The slogan of APC as a party. When they say APC, the response is supposed to be progress.
Yes.
But here in Benue, whenever you call APC, the first thing that comes to the mind of the people is yes, father.
Why?
So, because of the personality of the governor and the cult followership that he has.
Okay. Some critics said this particular thank you talk has nothing to do with appreciation, but has something to do with showmanship. How will you react to that?
I think they are ignorant of the whole fact. The governor went straight to the people. He interfaced with them and he told them, I have come to thank you for all that you did for me by electing me as your own governor. And the people were so pleased with that gesture. There was nothing like showmanship. Naturally, the governor has this kind of followership that I doubt anyone has in this state. When the people see him you see that electrifying kind of, that magnetic expression that comes from them. Any day at all, Governor Alia could go to the street and the people will gather. But this time he went to the people, and it was not just verbal expressions.
Yeah.
He went to them with projects. He said, I understand the peculiarities of each zone in this state.
Yes.
And as I have come here, I am going to construct this road. I have done this before, and I'm going to do this in addition to what I have done in all the places we visited. So how could someone describe that as mere showmanship when the people are so impressed? The people are so happy that projects are coming to them, and he even had the opportunity to ask them, what do you want? In his interfaces with the traditional rulers.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that, because it is a normal thing to say showmanship is part of politics, and most politicians actually indulge in this. So I need you to say something on this.
No, you see, the thing is not about showmanship. It's about trying to see how you can garner information.
Okay.
Towards seeing how you can propel governance. You know, at the point in time, at every point in time, had the governor say that, look, the time of politics is over. It's the time for governance. So when you're trying to do a budget, there's what we call critical engagement. That you engage with your stakeholders, you engage with the people to be able to see, have a feel of what they really want. It's not about you as a person, as a governor, what you want. It's about what the people want, and that's how budgets have been driven. And with what I did earlier, you know, had made mention as we kickstarted this program, the governor went there, and what my co-panelist, the organizing secretary of the party, just said, he just didn't go there to be able to say thank you. He went there to tell them, indeed, you did well for me by putting me in there. You wanted me to drive governance for you. What do you want me to do? That was the question he kept asking. What do you want me to do? And they were telling him the projects that they wanted the government to put on board so as to be able to drive it, to get so that they can get the dividends of democracy. And that's exactly what most of those things he was saying on announcing those projects were people-driven projects that people and the people within those federal constituencies felt these are the projects that will be most impactful to our federal constituency. Please help do this for us. If you do this for us, it will help drive the economy for us. And that's what we took off from. We took from the field to be able to see that to make these things become a reality. And as it were, you know, at each point in time, for projects that, you know, because the governor is sitting at a very unique position to see the generality of the state, and then he has the pulse to be able to see what comes in, you know. So if there are projects that were doable, he will tell you, look, I'm a talk and do governor. I don't want to say something here that at the end it will become politics, because I'm not here basically for politics. One is to tell you thank you, and again to ask you, what do you want me to do? So I'm looking at the pulse. I'm looking at what is coming in. So if you're going to put up projects that are going to be too much for me to handle, given the generality of the state as my own constituency now, you know, he will tell you, look, why not let's leverage on some of these other projects, put some by the corner, and then
just I know you are itching.
Yeah, go ahead, please. If you have one, go ahead.
This is very important because critics must arise, and it is important you diffuse whatever. Of course, they're also saying that because of the critical nature of the economy in Benue and of course Nigeria, that these journeys were not important because there is this colossal spending of money, moving with so much entourage and the rest of them. I don't know how you react to that. That at this point in time, Benue State doesn't need this kind of journeys, this kind of travels, and the rest of it because of the money involved.
They're being unfair to the governor.
Okay.
I don't think any expense is too much for a governor to go and say thank you to his own people. It's a show of gratitude. So there is no point questioning that. How much was spent if you ask them?
Let me just say this. You know, the whole thing, people who are making such critiques, yes, maybe they are looking only the political angle. But if you look at the economics of the trip, when you talk about the economics, you talk about the cost and returns on any particular activity. Was it too much for the governor to be able to go and ask constituents, garner what he needs to do for them, and then come and then make sure that those things become a reality? You know, by the time they start seeing these dividends come by, then no matter the cost, the expenses, which to me were almost negligible. You know,
it's okay.
Almost negligible when you look at the benefits accruable to all federal constituencies.
I think I would want to take a different dimension altogether. Let's look at DG planning. People began to be afraid when the governor, cumulatively, the projects that the governor had, awarded during the thank you tour were over 35 projects. And this, to very many of us who are not within the cabinet, we are beginning to be afraid. Do you think the state will have such amount of money to be able to carry out these projects?
You see, what the governor did, if you look at most of the projects across the breadth and the length and breadth of the state, we are mostly about roads. So for me, I'm even beginning to see a new theme for our next budget, which is the budget of agriculture and then maybe rural.
But where will the monies come from?
This is what I'm saying.
This is, of course, a poor state,
Yeah, but you see, for the governor, like I said, he looks at the pulse and then he's able to see how he'll manage all of these things to bring to bear. All of these things might not enter into the remaining half of the year's budget.
Okay. That's certainly within the 4 years.
No, not within the 4 years. It must, maybe some will be spill off to next year. Because like I said, the budget year for 2025 has already started. Once you get to half of the year, the budget process has started. There is what is known as critical engagement. Critical engagement is by trying to engage with the relevant stakeholders, the people, to get the feel of what they want. So by the time they do that, he's now able to accumulate their own feelings, and then they will impute it in the 2025 budget. So all of those projects you were saying, let me put it this way, there are projects that are going to run through maybe 1.5 years. Half year, that's this 6 months, that's supplementary that is coming, and then the other 1 year, that is 2025.
DG planning, the question specifically is, do you see Benue as being economically viable enough to be able to carry out this project? Because you are the one at the helm of planning.
Which is what I say.
Yes.
I just gave you this. I'm saying that we are looking at resources of 1.5 years resources. You're not just looking at 1 year's resources. You're looking at 1 year and a half. The half is June to December and then 2025. So if you put all of these resources together of 1.5 years, in my own candid belief, the governor said something which he has also maintained. I don't say anything that I cannot do. And that's why it's been called a talk and do governor.
Do you have an idea of how much a kilometer of road is being constructed?
A kilometer of road is going for close to about within the range of from 500 million to 700 million.
So when you look at these monies, but let's talk about the IGR. Do you think the IGR of the state is enough to support this project? Let's focus on the IGR.
For me,
is it possible for us to generate?
For me, I've always kept saying something, that if you want to run an economy, that development needs to come in. The IGR needs to be maybe a revenue source that will take care of recurrent expenses. Now, when you want to talk about capital votes, that's when FAC at Federation will come in. So what I see the governor trying to do now is trying to see how he will close in more on the loopholes or leakages within our internal generated revenue sources.
Yes, but you are aware the minimum wage is coming in soon, and it's going to have a kind of, it's going to weigh on the economy. Don't you think? Are you planning towards that? Because remember, the talk and do, is already a name that people have replaced. They are no longer calling the executive governor as Governor High said earlier. It's talk and do. That's what is said everywhere. So it means, therefore, that these are a set of people who once they trust you, they are expecting that you are infallible. So are you not afraid that the governor is carrying more than he can sustain?
For heaven's sake, I have a governor who exudes a lot of confidence. You could see the strength and confidence and the feel he had with the people. So if I have that kind of person, something that we need to know about a leader is that you are a follower. You look at the gestikular and the body language of your leader. My leader is exuding confidence. Why would I, be confident that he will do what he says he will do?
Now you spoke about leakages.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the governor and his cabinet and the retinue of people that he works with.
Yeah.
What are you putting in place to block these leakages so that monies don't leak out, because a point comes to say corruption, and because of corruption we were unable to do this, and corruption has been the bane of this country. So now what are in place so that these leakages are at least blocked to the barest minimum? I mean, minimum, especially the IGR.
You know, one thing again we need to be able to understand is that I did make mention of one thing.
Yeah.
So there's this proverbial saying that when you want to know a fish that is rotten, you know from the head.
Yes.
I know. I have a governor who is almost not a corrupt person, and that means that he's already telling his subordinates, look, if I get up with you or catch up with you, do anything out of the ordinary in terms of corruption, you're gone. I'm not just gone. I'm going to make sure I prosecute you. You know. So with that kind of body language, you know, everybody is beginning to fall in line, and that's one element. Because he, as a person, is not a corrupt person. He has said this most of the times, even in when he wants to start cabinet meetings, that he came in as a priest. That he was voted as a priest. He came in as a priest. He won to rule as a priest, and they want to leave as a priest. That tells you something. That he wants, by the time, if he's done with politics, he wants to go and take his cassock, wear it, and preach on the altar. And so for somebody to start thinking that way, it means that he wants a situation whereby if he goes to the altar, he'll still be seen in that light of a priest that is ready to lead. Because for him, he looks at governance as mission. You know, that this is another mission for him, that God has called him on this mission. And he's want to take the people of Benue State out of, you know, some of the doldrums of poverty. So for him, that's what he feels.
So it's all right.
Yes,
Yeah, okay, you want to add to it?
Yeah, in
add
addition
briefly,
to that, we were in Opoga, in Opoku local government, and the governor told the people of Benue State clearly that in the past, our leaders made us to feel there was no money in this state. But he is the one looking into the purse, and he can tell us confidently and authoritatively that there is money here for projects, and he has come to execute this project.
Benue is not, he's no longer a poor state. The narrative is changed.
Yes.
Because formerly we were made to understand that it was a poor terrain where you cannot find anything.
And the governor said no to that.
Now let us get back to some core issues. The unity of your political party, which is the All Progressives Congress, is sacrosanct. But of course, I see billboards within the state saying the party is supreme. I also hear His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Benue State, saying that the stakeholders are much more important than any other person, as even against the stakeholders. Now, at Akuma Tongu Stadium in Kasnala, the Nomyangu chief stated very clearly that Governor Alia is of God, and so does not need a godfather. He can only have a father. As against the narrative that in Benue there is always a godfather. I would want you to take your time to speak to us in the capacity of the organizing, secretary of your party. Do you think your party, which is the All Progressives Congress, is united on all fronts?
This is a deep one.
Go ahead.
I have avoided talking on the Benue APC crisis for a long time, but today you've pushed me into a corner where I have to necessarily comment on it.
Yes.
Well, in all political parties, you can't run away from disagreements. But the good thing is that it is better to disagree to agree. And that is what is happening in APC now. When the governor came on board, he came with his own agenda to develop the state. And when he witnessed some obstacles, he decided to move away from the obstacles that, if he had driven himself into them,
obstacles within the party?
Obstacles within the party.
Okay.
Our issues are not so strong like that if they are handled carefully. The pattern has always been that where the party does not have a governor, there could be someone in the state who coordinates the activities of the party. And throughout these years that we had no governor, our father, Senator Dr. George Akume, was the sole leader of this party in the state.
Okay, was the sole leader?
Yes.
He's no longer the leader?
That is not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm talking about sole leader.
Okay. So when you said was,
yes,
you placed it in the past.
Yes.
And so we have okay,
I'm talking of when we had no governor.
All right.
He was the only leader of the party.
Okay.
Then the fortunes of the party changed with the emergence of Governor Hyacinth Alia as the governor. And everywhere in Nigeria and everywhere as far as APC is concerned, the governor of the state is the leader of the party in that state.
Okay, is that what is stated in the constitution of the party?
It's a conventional matter.
Okay, conventional issue.
It's a conventional matter. It's not clearly stated.
Okay.
Because the party has a state executive committee. This state executive committee is the organ that oversees the affairs of the state working committee.
All right.
And because the chairman who presides over the state working committee cannot be a judge in matters concerning his own organ, there is a state executive committee that oversees the affairs of the state working committee, and that is, the governor is a member of it. The truth is that once you become a governor, you are a member of the state ESCO of the party. And if there is going to be any state executive committee, you will be there. And because of the authority the governor wields, he is allowed to preside. Same way it happens at the national. And that is where the issue of leadership comes in.
And I hope this is happening across the Texas states.
Everywhere. In Nasarawa State,
yes,
you can't even inaugurate local government ESCO without the consent of the governor. You'll be sanctioned.
As party chairman?
Yes, you can't do it.
Except the governor,
except the governor approves of it.
All right.
So there are functions that are reserved for the state executive committee, and there are functions that are for the state working committee. Even if you look at the introductory part, where the functions of the state working committee is mentioned, they said they shall carry out the directive of the state executive committee. So it is the state executive committee that prepares an agenda for the state working committee to execute. So the chairman of the party, the state chairman of the party, is not an alpha and omega in his own self. He only carries out the directive of the state executive committee, where the governor is allowed to preside.
Okay.
But in Benue, this is where the problem started.
Good.
We have a state chairman who was combining both the duties, the activities of the state executive committee and that of the working committee, sidelining the governor totally because his allegiance was to someone else.
Okay. And who could that be? This is our state.
Because his allegiance.
This is our state. And let me tell you something. You are the state organizing secretary of your party.
Yes.
For every matters of progress, development, unity rest with you, because you need to organize for them to come together.
That's true.
I want to put to you that even the unity of your party is in your hands. If you organize properly, all of these leaders will come back together. Now, the reason why I'm asking you these critical questions is that, during the thank you tour, we noticed while the vast majority of the people were clapping hands, giving the governor different kinds of heroic names like Ohiti, the talk and do, the governor of the masses, the people's governor, and all of that. This is about the first governor that has received accolades up to that level and different names. Governor Alia doesn't even know the particular name the Benue people want for him. But there is a problem.
Yeah.
There is a lacuna. There is a disconnection from some party stakeholders with the state. This is the matter I would want you to. How soon do you intend to bring this together? I couldn't see the leaders at the national level. Honorable Asama Achadu was not with you while you were going around for this. The Honorable Zam, who is a senator representing this zone, was not there. Senator Udende was not part of this arrangement. And so all of these national leaders were not part of, except the likes of Wombo and a few others. What are you doing? Because the thank you tour should involve a place where you are uniting these people. So what are you doing?
I think I go back to the first question.
It's all right.
Because we are trying to establish the disconnect. So when we had the governor, it was expected that the loyalty of the state chairman will be first to the governor, and the governor now links up with our leader, Senator Okume, for that synergy.
Okay.
But Agadan, the then chairman, now felt...
Okay, he's no longer the chairman?
No, he's suspended.
Okay.
He's no longer the chairman. The then chairman now felt it was needless transacting with the governor on the affairs of the party. And he would move all his issues directly to our leader, Senator Kumena Abuja. The governor, who is supposed to be a member of the State Executive Committee, would not be invited to any SEC meeting. His own key government functionaries will be suspended by the state chairman. If you were the one, you wouldn't take it too. And good enough, his own word suspended him.
So there was a suspension indefinite or has a timeline?
Well, if you are suspended, there is a procedure. You can appeal the suspension if you want. In this case, he was suspended by his own word. His own local government affirmed the suspension and sent it to the state. It was expected that he will now direct it to the State Executive Committee to deliberate on it. But he didn't. He didn't appeal the suspension. And that time has even elapsed.
Now, I would want to deepen our discussion. Let's take on this one briefly, lest I forget.
Yes.
Now, we got the news that there was an order restraining the state from having any other person parade himself as the state chairman of the party, the All Progressives Congress. I don't know whether you have the true certified copy of that injunction, which came from the Agada camp. When the tussle was on, we were following and all of that. So now, apart from that, there is a timeline for one to act constitutionally. You are not supposed to act beyond a particular timeline. I don't know what the constitution of your party says. The question the people are asking is that if truly is Honorable Benjamin Omakolo that is going to be the chairman, for now he is acting.
Yes.
It could be that at the end of the day he will leave the stage or will continue. Yes. If he's going to continue, how soon is the party making arrangement to confirm him? So that the party also has a substantive chairman and put to rest the issue of argument who is a chairman and who is not.
Well, the political parties administer themselves using their own constitution.
Yes.
But where there is a breach, the court comes in to intervene.
Yes.
And once the court is involved, the party holds action, pending when the court issues will be determined.
So what's the position of the court at the moment?
For now, the issues are in court. One, a member of the party has taken Austin Agada to court that he was suspended by his own word. He never appealed. Therefore, he should stop parading himself as the chairman of the party. And that is the position. That is where we are now. And even the judgment that was given that Agada be restored as chairman has also been appealed. And when there is an ongoing appeal, status quo is maintained.
Okay, I understand. But he has not completed that part of the question. With the first question I asked you, this was just a follow-up on what you were talking about. The question basically was, what have you done in the recent past and in the past towards uniting these people who are the actors and players in the political theater of our state?
Very good. When this issue started, I was in a fore of trying to bring these two groups together. In the process, I rather incurred wrath that was unnecessary. A lot of people said, as the organizing secretary, I have been a very vocal voice. I was a very vocal voice against the Otom administration.
Yes.
And why am I not questioning the attitude of the governor publicly? It then means I'm working with the governor. Then the people on the side of the SGF now turned against me. That I should, as a matter of fact, follow Agada and then maybe possibly the publicity secretary to write stuff against the governor. And I said no.
And this is where I always interrupt party men when we're talking about this. You are the organizing secretary, and you said the people loyal to the SGF. We have a feeling that all of you have come under the umbrella of the SGF. And we know that we have one political party, which is the All Progressives in Nigeria.
At this point, we don't have to pretend.
Yes.
There is a dichotomy.
Good. What's the dichotomy?
There is a division in our party now that we're trying to manage. And the National Secretariat is aware of it.
Yes.
The Zona ESCO of North Central is also aware of it, and they are trying to settle the matter.
Okay.
But for now, we are diametrically opposed. We have a group that is loyal to the SGF, and anything that has to do with the governor, they don't care about it. And then we have the supporters of the governor who feel, no, these ones are a distraction.
Sorry, Steve.
They're moving on their own lane.
Let's take this, lest I forget.
Yes.
Now, and Honorable Onguga,
Yes.
Do we have fake members of the All Progressives Congress now?
Well,
I want you to be very categorical. I know you are a vocal voice. The reason is that we hear the mantra of original.
Yes.
Even when we're going around the thank you tour, they will say original James Onguga. They will say original Omakolo, original this governor and all of that. Who is fake in the All Progressives Congress?
Well, originality in this case is an emphasis that this is what we believe in. To us, this is the real thing. So whoever opposes the governor who is the leader of the party is fake to us.
All right.
All right. Please go ahead.
Stray away from this and not to make it look as if we are not still discussing the thank you talk.
Yes.
But quickly, I need you to. You say earlier he asked a question. If you said immediately you have a governor in the state, he becomes a party leader.
Yes.
He asked if that was constitutional. You say
it's conventional.
All right. All the misdemeanor that the former chairman embarked upon, they were also conventional. They were not constitutional. For let's say doing his stuff with the SGF and not and sidelining the governor was not a constitutional matter. But I believe that he was suspended by due process and of course party constitution. So the question here is how come your party has not in its constitution enacted that the governor is the party leader? I think this thing should be very constitutional so that people don't begin to misinterpret.
This is where the concept of who is the leader of the party came about in APC.
Yeah.
When the party was formed, right from the time of ACN, the current president, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was instrumental to the formation of the party. Then the party had no president, and it was unanimously agreed that he should be the national leader of the party.
Okay.
And that was replicated at the states where they had no governor. But the moment President Buhari emerged as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Tinubu stopped presiding over National Executive Committee meetings.
Okay.
Buhari took over immediately. Okay. That is the trend.
Okay.
So at the state here too, it was expected that now that we have a governor, the party will be left in his own hands. The governor will now be meeting with the SGFs as co-leaders to decide the fate of this party and not skipping the governor. This is where the disconnect is coming from.
That's very fine. And
we should put a stop to the party thing and still move on to why we are here. But I need you to.
Of course, it's part of the reasons we're here.
Important.
The unity of the party is part of
this dichotomy, disconnect, discord, and division. What is the fate or safety of your party in the next election year?
Our party is rather getting more populated. You have the original APC from Governor Alia's side winning more members into the party every day. When we went out, you were in Kasinala and you saw the number of the campees. Saw the number of the campees in Gwe East, in Bandekia, in Opoga, in Apaga. So many people are coming into the party. So if we are able to merge eventually and become one, we may even have a population that we won't need any election again. Or our candidates will be declared. So when God blesses a political party, everything becomes double. So we now have double blessings. And we're okay. We know that in the end, we will have a rallying point.
Yes.
We will all come together eventually. This matter is just between the governor and the SGF.
Good.
If they decide to come together, all of us are just foot soldiers.
It's okay.
We won't have anything to do.
I'm happy with your last statement. Other persons are beginning to see themselves in the boxing ring, which is not supposed to be that way. You have just admitted you are all just foot soldiers.
Yes.
You are ready to work for the progress of
exactly.
Now, but let's establish things the way they should be. The Nom Yange made a remarkable statement in Sankara.
Yeah.
Will you pitch tent with him, gentlemen? Are you now accepting very clearly that Benue, and of course the governor, doesn't have a godfather?
Well, the governor is a reverend father.
Yes. Do you accept the position of the Nom Yange? That the governor does not have a godfather, and he's not supposed to have a godfather.
I don't think godfatherism is the problem of Benue State, or it is anywhere stated that if a governor does not have a godfather, he will not function well.
Yes.
Even without a godfather,
and that's why I'm asking, do you agree with the position
so
of the
I don't have issues with that.
Yes. You agree with that?
I don't have issues.
How about you?
I don't have issues with that.
See, there's something we've been mentioning here. We talked about the fact that he said that, look, the governor does not need a godfather.
Yes.
But he needs a father.
Okay.
You know, when a godfather is the one that dictates every move you're about to take, anything you want to do, the godfather dictates for you what to do.
Why the
father guides or advises you.
Yes.
He allows you take your lane, move the way you want to move, but he will advise you, look, if you look at it, I feel that this should be done in the right way. He will just say, look, go this direction. If you want to take it, fine. If you don't want to take it, you let it be. And he's not even so much bothered. At least for the father, he knows that he has done his bit by advising. But the godfather instructs, directs, and expects you to carry such instructions.
It's all right.
And it is Governor Alia's administration and nobody else.
Okay, so it is Governor Alia's administration and nobody else.
Yeah.
You have succeeded in saying it now very clear.
Can we move on to thank you talk?
Yes. We are still on the thank you talk.
Yes. But I need to.
But those are some of those things we are coming out from.
Yeah, they were coming out from the thank you talk.
When you engaged the thank you talk through the federal constituencies. Now, somebody said, before your mouth spoke, your body spoke. That is what we call body language. So before you said something, your body.
For those of us that are students of communication, we even know that non-verbal communication is older than verbal communication.
Whether spoken or expressed through by using body language, did you see any community that was critical of this administration? Maybe by way of saying it that this administration has sidelined us, we're not included and all that. And if you have, what is there to be done about it? Is it an all-inclusive administration?
Well, we never had any confrontation or open criticism because I was able to move around with the governor. We never had any open criticism from any community because what happened was that upon arrival in any community, the governor will first interface with the traditional rulers. And it's most of the places we visited, it was even the traditional rulers that will reel out the demands that they want. The governor would agree with them on the ones he's going to do and the ones that he will keep in view. And by the time he gets to the main event, the open event, it will be declaration. So the people were so excited when core issues of development in their areas. We were in Kasinalam, somebody will say, so Father Elia even knows the Chito Road and all these ones because the way he was calling them by name. In Opoka, it was the same thing. So we never had any open criticism like that.
Right.
We never had any, to the best of my knowledge.
That's all right. So now let's get back to look at some of the DG planning. I really would want you to talk to us about how robust you intend the next Benue budget would very well cover most of these things that the governor, has told the people he is going to do. And by your planning, how soon exactly do you think at least half of these projects will be done?
First of all, let me just start by saying one or two things the governor has already done.
Yes.
In terms of, the budget we're into now is the budget of infrastructure, or that of job creation and poverty alleviation. So in terms of infrastructure, we've seen that the governor has done tremendously well in terms of trying to link us with roads, in terms of lighting up our dark alleys, solar lights, in terms of buildings. Even our secretariat is taking the first lift, and most government buildings are all taking some kind of facility. Just move around most government buildings in Makurdi, you see that most of them have taken some kind of facelift. For health, already there are by the CSDA, that's the Community and Social Development Agency. There have been ongoing close to about 8 primary health care centers, that are in the state. I think the next 2, maybe a month from now, all of them will now start cutting the tape on all of those facilities. In terms of primary school, already Subeb is there. They've already railed up close to 100 primary schools that are going to renovate for even our tertiary health institution. If you go to the teaching hospital now, I mean, it's something else, and then the whole of 23 local government, the government is also trying to see, that's the secondary, health care centers, is trying to see how he can renovate all the 23 hospitals in terms of skills. We are bringing back to board the scope nursing to be able to provide at least diploma skill potentials for nursing, so as to be able to take over some of the management of some of these facilities. The bond scheme is there, that is entered into with the medical students, with this, in terms of maybe scholarship, and the other side of scholarship to which the government has done, by really now close to, the entirety of our students who are taking exams in WAEC, NECO, and APEP. He has been able to pay all their school, registration fees. There are a whole lot of things that the governor has done, even in terms of poverty alleviation. Close to about 20 to 30,000 persons now have benefited from the earlier cares palliatives, that have gone on to them. Fertilizer, this is one of the first time that fertilizer is timely, given to our farmers as well as other inputs. The other day we were at Akresa, 33 tractors has already been, bought to enable farmers increase their production. Okay. And then again on that same day, close to about $300 million you're distributed to cooperatives, in their chunks on that day. Yeah. So there are a whole lot of things that the governor has done. That I've got across all of this in terms of maybe the poverty alleviation issues, job creation issues. Even in job creation issues, the Ministry of through Earlier Cares platform, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment has already distributed, some monies with a minimum 150,000 to 500,000 and to small and medium scale personnel and persons to be able to see how they can utilize that to, boost up their business. Okay. So these are all a lot of those things that the governor has been able to partake. And then going into the tour, just like you rightly asked, now the governor is already taking stock. Like I did say to you that already I'm seeing a team of a budget that is talking about rural transformation now. That's rural development and agriculture, because in most of these other places, in all of the places that he went to, the things that he promised them was about developing rules, network around us so as to increase the accessibility of food. We get into where food is being produced, those kind of things. And then some of our traditional structures, that's some of the palaces, some of them are really in bad shape. Yeah. Okay. He wants to renovate some of those palaces. And then Bati even said that I was going to bring that back to life again, and that's in terms of agriculture. Yeah. So there are a whole lot of things in terms of critically, what I see the governor trying to do on this tour with that of rural transformation and agricultural development. Yeah. So those are kind of the stuff that the vibes are here coming out from this thank you tour.
It's all right. And now, Honorable Onguga, let's also, in each of the places that the governor visited, there was a decamping ceremony as well. How many persons were actually brought into APC altogether across the thank you tour? Can you give us a number? Because I saw in Kasnala too, we have the source. In all the places that the governor went, decamping took place. So how many do we have added to the family of the All Progressives Congress now?
I couldn't add the figures together,
but roughly
immediately, but there were so many, honestly. There were so many. I should believe that we got nothing less than 20-something thousand people.
Oh, okay. Into the party. Just within 1 year.
Oh, just within 1 year.
Okay. How can you?
And more are willing to come, because since the governor visited my place and came back, I have so many PDP members that have been calling me that they want to come and join me. They're impressed with what the governor is doing.
How about the other party members, the other political parties, Labour Party and the rest?
Well, in my place, the ones talking to me majorly are PDP members.
Okay.
At some point you couldn't distinguish Labour Party from PDP in Benue State because they had a major. So winning PDP means you have won Labour Party too.
All right, give us an account of what took place in Way East, the governor's visit.
It was a very wonderful event. His Excellency arrived Way East, my own constituency, where the people of Way West also came, because it's a single federal constituency. And His Excellency had an interface with our traditional rulers, led by the Togwe, His Royal Highness Julius Andonadaga, the Tegwe, Dominic Akwe, and then the Tenagi, Chief Abonse. And there, the traditional rulers were able to present their own demands to the governor.
What were they?
They mentioned a number of roads that they wanted the governor to help construct so as to link up these two local governments, especially the road at Bayongo down to Agena that stretches up to under Nangwe West. They gave him the road the one that was started by the Akume administration, the Aliede Baikine Barricade Road. And they also
Is that not supposed to be a federal project?
Which one?
The one that leads to Barricade from Aliede Baikine.
No.
Is it a state project?
It's a state project.
Okay.
It was started by the Akume administration, I think in 2005, thereabout. So it is there, and the people talked about it. They also talked about the road that passes through Government Girls Model Secondary School down to Mbaikian, and then links back to my village.
Okay.
So many roads we are.
I know you'd be interested in that one.
How
many of them were awarded?
Two.
Okay.
Which
were?
The one at Bayongo down to Agena up to Way West.
Okay.
And then he promised to work on the one at Baikine down to Barricade 2. And then he promised other projects. And then one other thing the people were waiting to hear. You know, in sharing the appointments, the people made a demand that we, federal constituency, was not given enough. So a demand was made, and there and then the governor promised that he was going to give them a commissioner by next week, because for now we have commissioner in Gwe West and we don't have any in Gwe East. The first of its kind.
Okay.
Because Gwe has always had their own commissioner, being the component that houses the massive people.
Yes.
So the
we're
people were so excited.
soon.
Yes, we're expecting a commissioner very soon.
You wanted to say something?
No, just what I wanted to say was the fact that in all of this, thank you to you did ask, for us planning, we strategize on how to make things happen. Maybe visions and policies, how to make them become real. Part of what we intend to do is that we are going to go into synergy also with the local government and the components of local government. Some kind of maybe joint strategies to be able to see that some of these rules come to pass, maybe by going to what we look at, maybe counterpart funding. Maybe some other areas, the state might bring in 60% or 60 to 70% of the monies, and they will expect maybe the remaining 30% from the local councils to see how some of those rules will come to bear. So those are some of the novel ways that we're trying to see to bring to bear some of these.
So like you preempted me, I wanted to ask how the local communities will be involved in this administration, because the point comes, the local people are actually neglected, and it's like this administration is actually looking into seeing how the local people will be included.
Even those 8 PHCs that I did mention earlier, they are in 7 local governments, that we've already started. It's some kind of maybe counterpart arrangement with the local communities. The state gives them some funds, and they expect them to have maybe a community management team that we take charge of those funds in their own accounts and they manage it. So as they are doing the jobs, some of those issues that have to do with maybe if they have somebody who builds well within that community, they can take over that responsibility. So at the end, it becomes some kind of maybe community-owned project, but the state provides those kind of monies. So you see that at the end, they take care of that project, feeling that it is theirs. So those are kind of some of the novelties. And another thing that, okay, all right.
Yeah, we're due for a break, and we'll return very shortly to continue with our discussion on Daybreak Benue, and we will continue to talk about the thank you tour of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Dr. Hyacinth Umem Alia. Let's go on a break.
It is the continuation of Governor Hyacinth Alia's thank you visit to the people of Benue State. The governor's train arrives Buruku local government to a jubilant crowd. Governor Alia's message to these people is his resolve to prioritize people's welfare, where he announces reviving of Mighty Agricultural Training Center, construction of the Buruku Bridge by the federal government, revival of general hospitals in all the local governments, and construction of befitting palaces and offices alongside improved welfare of traditional rulers. He reveals that his administration has equally received support from the federal government to construct roads from Tiogbunda linking Jingi to Uga and that of Tiawanye, Uga through Tsadingi and Mkovu to connect communities within those regions. The governor expresses hope that when completed, the projects would enhance food production, boost economic activities, provide quality health care and jobs, and strengthen relationships within the traditional institution and the people. The Buruku Traditional Council, led by the Te Buruku, His Royal Highness Moses Hayo, acknowledges the governor's work in the last 1 year, saying, Reverend Father Alia has given hope to the people. The royal fathers assured the government of their blessings and support to carry out more of such development projects. Caretaker Chairman of Buruku Local Government, Yokia Nagbe, Commissioner for Works, Housing and Urban Development, Tizai Mojimen, in a team with the Director General of Benue Television, Dr. Patience Achapakyo, affirmed the support of Buruku people for the governor's policies and programs. Other stakeholders attribute the massive turnout of Buruku people to welcome the governor to an undivided support for his administration to succeed.
We have starved for development for quite a long period of time. Now that we have gotten a governor that is here for us, that has brought development to our doorstep, we are here for him. We will not allow anybody that will come against us.
The whole of Buruku women are in support of the governor because of what he's doing for women, and they are hoping that he does more, especially for Buruku, that more women are also included in the administration from Buruku local government in particular.
Over 2,000 decampees from other political parties to the All Progressives Congress APC are received by the state acting chairman of the party, Benjamin Omakulu, during the event. Emmanuel Akula, Benue Television News, Makudi.
Welcome back. This is Daybreak Benue on Benue Television, and we are still here talking about Governor Alia's thank you tour to the 23 local government areas of the state. And the gentleman has come back to Government House after consulting and saying thank you to the people of Benue, and also has promised to construct road projects amongst many others. Today we are in the house here with the DG Benue State Budget and Economic Planning, talking about Dr. Jerome Andoho in the house here, who was with the governor across the 23 local government, as well as Honorable James Azenyito Onguga, who is the state organizing secretary of the All Progressives Congress here in Benue State. And so, gentlemen, we have a couple of meetings to spend together. And the next matter one would expect us to talk about is how are we going to ensure that the support for His Excellency is sustained by the people? Because it is one thing to support the governor today, it's another thing to have that support sustained. And if the governor is working in the interest of the masses, as he is being addressed as the masses governor, how can we keep the followership of His Excellency, you are the ones to do it. How sure are you that you are able to sustain this to the next election?
One thing I can say quickly is that the governor doesn't want to have mess up with the welfare of the people, with this paramount. I know for human beings, there are three basics of life: that of food, that of clothing, and that of shelter, in that priority. So even if you look at our budget, the first line item on the budget is salaries. That's the first line item. So it means that salaries have to be paid before any other thing, because capital is even at the last of the line charges that are there. So that is an important component as long as the Benue economy is concerned. That component is the nexus between what happens within the rural economy as well as the urban economy. Because most of us that work within the urban economy, we have our dependents that are within the rural economy. Until we're able to get some resources here, then we can galvanize whatever support in terms of trickling down those effects to our rural economy, that they will use some of those resources that we give to them to be able to see how they can put up their farms and be able to find food on their table. So importantly is that salaries need to be paid. And in that when salaries don't get paid over a period of time, just like what did happen in the last administration, that the thing dive to close to about 10 months, if it don't become recurrent again,
Okay.
And so they become capitalized. So if you look at our budget, because of these 10-month salaries, we have to capitalize it. We took about 5 months into the capital side of the budget, so that the government can offset some of those areas. So I'm just appealing to the Benue public, that especially our civil servants, knowing fully well that these two economies that I did mention, the rural and urban economy, that nexus within them, and what binds these two economies is how well the people within the urban sectors, especially those working within the civil service sector, are being paid. More so that when you look at the Benue economy, the greater chunk of the what moves the economy are in the civil service sector. So we are mindful that indeed some of those areas which are not capitalized will come in their trickles. So we are appealing to the people of Benue State. The governor at every fora is appealing to them to please give him some more time, given the fact that the generated economy he made wasn't too good an economy. So he's just trying to see how he can leverage on that and bring it up, so that at the end
looks like an honorable that wants to.
Yes, the simplest way to sustain this kind of massive followership the governor has is for him to continue with the good work he's doing.
And you see him with the capacity to continue.
Very well. He will do it. He's doing it. The people are impressed with him, not because of who he is, but because of what he's doing. He has moved away from the conventional pattern of leadership, which was full of complaints and all of that. Ali is telling the people that, yes, you voted me to do this for you, and I'm here to do it. So for those of us who are around him, as a political party officer, we will always continue to advise him that, Your Excellency, keep doing this. Keep doing the good work you are doing. And then, as long as we do that, the people will follow us, and it makes the work of the party very less. We won't have to go through rigorous kind of campaigns. We will simply course to victory in the next election.
Go ahead.
Now, you actually preempted me there. When we were in school, a semester or a term is like 6 months. It's so long. But when you're in politics, 4 years is like 2 months. Now 2027 is in the horizon. It's fast approaching. How will you separate this thank you talk from the fact that this is actually a political campaign activity? This is what critics are saying.
Well, I think that was the question we started with.
Yes.
And I told you this wasn't any form of showmanship. It is not campaign. It's an engagement.
Yeah.
Like the DG told you, that in planning a budget, you engage the people to know their priorities. So the governor said, instead of my appointees or stakeholders from these areas coming to tell me what the people need, let me go to them.
Okay.
And he has been able to meet with them to know their priorities. In some areas, he will tell them, yes, you mentioned this, but for now, I am going to take these 3. I will do the rest. We'll look at the rest going forward. So that has given him a very good idea of what the people of Sankara need, what the people of Jechira need, what the people of Kwande and across the state. So this is not politics. When the time for politics comes, we will still go out there and do politics. For now, the governor is telling the people, it is time for governance. Let's put politics aside. That is why, in my place, we had PDP members who have not decamped, that came out and said, this is our governor coming, it is not politics.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were part of
It's
the people that came to witness the event.
Very well. And now, DG Planning, you have spoken about the hopes, you've raised the hopes of the Benue people, and each time you come here, you reassure this Benue civil servant that it is going to be rosy all the way for them. But the next name for the civil servants in the state is Oliver Twist. As we speak, they're asking for arrears. You are the helm of planning. How soon are these people expecting the other one?
One funny thing is that even before the minimum wage saga came in,
yes,
you know, there are some categories of groupings in terms of the civil service that some are already on the 30,000 naira minimum wage and some are on the 18,000 naira minimum wage. So when the governor came in, before this minimum wage saga came in, you know, he now directed us to be able to start a meeting to see how we can bring everybody to bear, you know, on the same level of 30,000 naira of minimum wage. Then these issues of 62,000 naira, 252,000 naira, 450 something thousand naira, you know, agitations all started arising. But I'm assuring you that our governor is one person that once an agreement is reached, and that's with the president and all the governors, on what the minimum wage should be, he is going to implement it. He's somebody that will not renege on that, because first and foremost is the human being, you know, and that is the more reason why the governor is so popular with people, because he respects humanity. The humanity first. He respects humanity, and even in his ethics, in his former mission, which was being a priest, you know, that is paramount. I think maybe that has some kind of dealings with how his former mission was, you know, and that of having respect for humanity and making sure that the human being is dignified first before we talk about any other thing. So I'm assuring civil servants that once that the minimum wage is reached, there will be, and in terms of being the arrears, there are plans on the way on what best, you know, I was even with the AG yesterday and we were discussing on what best modality are we going to use towards seeing how, you know, the arrears could be paid. Would it be paid maybe after every quarter you pay a month, or would it you batch it in a manner that you pull some resources together, maybe about 500 million or 1 billion naira, and say that so number of civil servants within this particular enclave you receive for this quarter, and then you batch it again, so number of persons received from this quarter. Before you know it, at least going down the road, you know, we must be able to, we come to the fact that most of those areas will be cleared. So discussions are in high gear towards seeing that those areas are cleared.
It's okay. Now, in Kasnala, you know that the governor stated clearly that he has not borrowed a dime.
He hasn't borrowed a dime.
He took off as the governor of the state. And one keeps wondering, in the state where borrowing was almost like a culture, what has happened? Does it mean the governor doesn't really want more money to come in? He just wants to focus on what he's going to get for himself, for the state.
And Jafet, I'd like to say something. You know, in as much as he keeps saying that he's not borrowing a dime, he has not said that he will not borrow at all. He said that until when it becomes necessary for him to borrow. As at the moment, it is not yet necessary. Maybe, given the enormity of some of these projects that is coming in, maybe you might turn the eye and say, okay, let me get some few funds from the commercial sector and add to this, knowing fully well that such funds will be put into capital projects, especially roads, that will have positive spin-offs to the generality of the private sector. Because the private sector, what they want to see, some of this infrastructure that are there for them to be able to leverage on, so that they can reduce the cost of production, and then at the end, they now start seeing that prices of items will go down, as well as, you know, an increment in terms of the returns that they're going to get on their goods and services.
That's all right. Honorable James tell us about, before then, Honorable James talked about his immediate constituency, which is Kwe, and you've not told us what happened in your constituency? You were part of the team that welcomed the governor in your constituency. What demands were made by your people and which were granted instantly?
Now we made the pattern was almost the same.
Yes.
The governor arrives. We welcome him where he arrives, and he goes to the traditional council. He meets with them, and at the traditional council, requests are being made. Because the whole traditional council is together and they reason out and say, look, this is what we want. Then they get down on the paper. When the government comes, by the time they talk to him, they make the presentation. About 4 roads. We are made requested of the governor, to which he picked up 2, and they said the other 2 going forward to see what we're going to do about it. And additionally, he said that he was going to build up. We don't have a traditional palace, for our Tojengba. So he said I was going to put up one for us in Buruku, and then the Mbati Agricultural Center. He said he was going to renovate it and bring it back to life. So those were the things that did happen. And then he came, he spoke to the people and then thanked them.
If you had the opportunity to ask the governor for more in your constituency, what would you have asked for?
I would have asked him that those were the 2 roads that he said, because one cuts across my constituency directly.
Yes.
I mean my ward. But that one was some kind of left in abeyance. But as a planner, when you plan, you don't plan for yourself.
Yes.
You plan for people.
Okay.
You want to make people feel good. So you don't put yourself in it. It's just like when they give you meat to share. You share and give everybody the meat and then you sit. So if they look at you and they feel, okay, this man doesn't have meat, let's give him back. That's when everybody start giving you back the meat. At the end, you have much more.
Yes.
So, you just need to be patient as a planner, knowing fully well that maybe going forward, much more is going to be coming to my ward. So those are just the things that I felt that maybe I could ask.
In addition to the question I'm going to ask him,
it's all right.
PDP has held this state sway for like maybe 16 years and more. I asked that question earlier. What is the future of APC in this state, at least for the next 2 political dispensations that are coming from what you are doing? What are your predictions?
Well, I predict that we rule this state beyond the years PDP ruled. In terms of population, even right from when I was the publicity secretary, I used to tell people that the population of APC in this state was higher than that of PDP, given a free and fair election.
Ever before PDP was
that is from 2011, when Uba came on board. And so I kept telling people that since that 2011, APC has a dominant population in this state. If free and fair elections were called anytime, because we were rigged in 2019, but I kept assuring our party members that we will come back in 2023. So it happened when the party eventually nominated Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia. It became a walkover, because in the whole election, the people of Kwande could not even vote. Their own was delayed, but then the ballots were counted, and the winning margin was so wide that they said there is no need for Kwande votes again. And
actually, we are not so happy.
Kwande were not so happy.
Because
when I went there, a lot of them couldn't come out to vote for the assembly candidates, and they wanted to vote for Father Elias. Oh, we have reserved votes in Kwande that are waiting to show what the governor missed in 2023. So I can see us with the pace. Governor Alia has started his development agenda. I see him handing over effortlessly in 2031 to another APC governor, and then if the person is able to do what he's doing, that is how we continue to rule, because people are happy. They are seeing this kind of development for the first time in this state since 1999.
It's all right. So
leadership is about followership. And then you need a leader that people can trust. And so once they trust you, just like you said, we don't even know, because we are so happy that we don't even know the coloration of names that we're going to call it. We will hit you, Mr. 22, Mr. 25th. The thing was 25th before. It came down to 22nd. People are excited. When you're so excited, you don't know what again to attribute to it. So, like what the organizing secretary has just said, I believe that APC is going to hold sway for a long time. All we need to do is that our governor keep pace with what he's doing, and hopefully by the time he's handing over to another person who will also see that trajectory and then building upon that, leveraging on that to be able to take us again higher, to a much more higher pedestal.
One word for the people of your political party before we exit the stage and Benue.
APC members in Benue State, whether original or diaspora, the governor is working very well, and he needs our support. He needs to succeed, and this is the party that gave him the platform to emerge as governor. Therefore, I beckon on all of you to come, team up with the governor, let him execute his entire development agenda for the state so that we'll be better as a people. So I call on everyone that is aggrieved, everyone that has been disagreeing, to come to terms with the reality that we now have a governor in the state. We are no longer in the opposition, and the governor is the leader of the party. Therefore, let us submit to him, and he will in turn submit to our father, Senator Dr. George Akume, for that seamless synergy so that Benue will be great and greater.
All right, now you have actually spoken, unlike the organizing secretary of your party. I must appreciate you, Honorable James Adzemito Omuga, the state organizing secretary of the All Progressives Congress here in Benue State and former publicity secretary of the party. I must appreciate you for coming. It's indeed a warm pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes. I'd also like to say thank you to the DG, Benue State Budget and Economic Planning. I'm talking about Dr. Jerome Andoho. We want to appreciate you very kindly for being a part of the program once again.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes. We hope to have more of your time, Honorable James Omuga, because we need to develop the state, and it's through this kind of programs that we can chart the way forward. This is where we have to let you go. We'll take a quick break and take a look at the papers briefly, and in a few minutes we call it a wrap on the show. So please keep watching Benue Television.
By First Class Chief of the area, His Royal Highness Moses Anagende. He receives blessings and support of the royal fathers. The governor then expressed the purpose of his visit to Lobi being to acknowledge the support of the people to him, which led to the victory at the polls and assumption of office as governor. He urges the people to remain steadfast in supporting his administration for the purpose of better service delivery, while revealing his administration's intention to train and engage 60,000 youths in information and communication technology programs for the overall development of the state. The governor restates his unwavering commitment to deliver good governance that will guarantee dividends of democracy to the people. He informs the people of his directive that salaries, pensions and gratuities will be paid between 22nd and 25th of every month.
I am grateful. The Holy Scriptures tell us that to whom more is given, more is expected. If you have seen any work, any road construction, any underpass, any proposed overhead bridge, I want you to know that it is not my handiwork, it is purely the handiwork of His Excellency, our great President who loves Benue, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu.
Welcome back to Daybreak Benue on Benue Television. Let's quickly take a look at the papers, and we begin with the Daily Trust newspaper here. The Daily Trust newspaper has the following headline here: Northwest governors unite against insecurity. And then the writer says, exploring comparative advantage, our strength, rather, and we have what it takes to defeat bandits. Lawal and UNDP, others pledge continued support. And we also have this one here that says, governors Labour convene emergency meeting as FEC steps down memo on minimum wage. You can find that on page 25 of the paper.
Okay, we shift our attention to Vanguard. And the headline here says, Tinubu to consult governors, OPS, on minimum wage. FG says he can't take decision on new minimum wage alone. Insists the input of governors, local government areas, and OPS vital. Find that story on page 5. No plan to dethrone Sultan, Sokoto government. That story is on page 9. And below the pictorial, you have Rivers crisis. Anti-Fubara protests rocks Port Harcourt. Wike not ready for peace. Clark tells Tinubu. That story is on page 12. DMO attributes rise in public debt to FX reforms, NPR hikes. The story is on page 19.
And also, let's turn our attention quickly to the Daily Sun newspaper here. Minimum wage, Tinubu to consult with governors, private sector level. Federal Executive Committee, FEC, steps down memo. And then we also have this one, west of Naira, volatility over Cardoso. You can find this on page 21 of the paper. Says MPC determined to curb inflation. And Deputy Rep Speaker loads call for Nnamdi Kanu's release. You can find that on page 26. And Customs Deputy Controller slumps, dies at Rep's investigative hearing. This is quite a sad one here. And so that's all coming from the Daily Sun newspaper.
And on The Nation, minimum wage, Tinubu opts for more consultation. Presidents to meet with governors, council chiefs, private sector players. Above the masthead, Northeast governors in Pakistan to study post-insurgency management. You find that story on page 5. Davido whips, gets 85 million SUV at show-stopping wedding. That story is on page 37. Sokoto government, no plan to dethrone Sultan Abubakar. The story is on page 32. I think that is the much we can take on the papers.
And so this is where we have to say goodbye. Very many thanks to all of you, especially the team, for putting this program together. To the viewer, we want to say we appreciate you for always being there. My name is Japhet Kwahom.
I'm Stephen Abba. Have a nice day.